why would you make a new guy a leader of a crew? I mean, that's like having a team. Well, it's basically the same thing, but it's like having a football. It's running a team, and then you gotta have this new dude come in the picture, and then you're just gonna make him the new leader after the old leader got knocked out. I mean, what kind of decision making is that? And like I said, the problem is, I mean, there's been some bad episodes too. There's been some bad episodes too in this show. No, but there's been some bad episodes in the show as well, like such as, um, like there's the episode where Wolverine fights. Well, I guess I can't say he's a Wolverine villain. The Silver Samurai. And guess what happens? He sends some ninjas, and the X-Men get defeated by some damn ninjas. Actually, in this episode, and I find it to be stupid because they have a train room. The train room is designed for opponents for like the ninjas, for example. But however, they still get defeated by them anyway. I mean, that's kind of a stupid episode when you think about it. I mean, I get freaking Emma Frost is a telepath, but she still get knocked out by some ninjas. I mean, that was really really stupid. And not only that, even Nightcrawler, the guy can teleport, still get beaten by some ninjas. I mean, how ridiculous does that sound? A guy who can teleport still get defeated by some ninjas who can't even do that, but nope, you get defeated anyway. And then, last but not least, Kitty Pryde. She can phase her walls, but nope, she gets defeated by ninjas too. So it's just like, if you ain't the main character, you gonna get knocked out easily, even if your power is to turn invisible and disappear. But like I said, the show's had some bad episodes like that, and I just find it to be a really, really, bad, downvote on the show. I mean, the next biggest problem with the show is Cyclops, and those of you who don't know who Cyclops is Scott Summers. And one thing I can say about the show is that with Scott, for that matter, is that we have this Jean and Scott gimmick where Scott is just basically obsessed with Jean, and then we do at least get a flashback in the episode breakdown. But even then, they did a poor job of that episode because they just kind of rushed through, how Jean's feelings were for Scott. Because, like I said, in that episode, we don't get no good portrayed of Scott. He's just basically always been this bum who somehow got a hot woman, and then, after he lost her, then he got back to being a bum again. And that episode just did a poor job on Scott's character, because instead of because we don't get a good image of Scott, like, and then too, there's not enough of his, even in that episode, there's not enough of his relationship of Jean to be seen to really root for him. Like, we don't see him standing up for her, we don't see him standing by her, or if someone say something ugly to her and then he tell a person to take that back or something. We don't see him stand for Jean. Instead, we just basically see a flashback of him, interacting with Jean, and then we flash forward to them being adults, and then the only thing most we get is just about Wolverine hitting on Jean and just him attacking Logan, and that's pretty much it. And that's not a great way to make us root for Scott. We can't even really root for him because, like I said, there's not enough of his origin with Jean to really be seen to do that. Like I said, if anything, in the show, you might find yourself rooting for the villains because they're like the only interesting thing in this show. I mean, the guy who made the show, which his name is Greg Johnson, by the way, he failed to make us care for these characters. I mean, like, for example, Kitty, she's a one-dimensional character. I'm sorry, but she is one-dimensional. If Kitty dies, I mean, how is that going to affect the show? If Bobby died, how is that going to affect the show? If Emma Frost died, how will that affect the show? Like, it's not going to really do anything, and they just made them one-dimensional. They didn't give them a backstory or of any kind, and that's sad. Like I can actually name a writer that does a good job of character development. That writer's name is Greg Wiseman. Like, when he made Spectacular Spider-Man, even in his interview he said that, Mary Jane's more than just a party girl, and Gwen's just more than just some geek. Heck, even Sandman is more than a crook, and that's coming from me because I've watched that show and seen how Sandman is, and he's more than just some crook. You can even see it in other episodes. But, however, like I said, that's pretty much, says something right there, you know. And like I said, the problem is with the show. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Okay, I'm back. No, but the problem is with the show is that, you know, like I said, who am I kidding? Like even freaking Young Justice, and those of you, because even Young Justice has good characterization and is much better than the show, because the characterization in Wolverine the X Men, I'm sorry, but it's bad, because entertainment wise, Wolverine in terms of quality, like characterization, is terrible. Like I said, there's zero characterization in the show. I think the most characterization you probably might get is out of Mystique, because we do see that she's more than just some villain. But even then, like I said, you know, it's not much. That's not exactly saying too much, because, you know, looking at Young Justice, and, you know, like I said, some of you guys who know about Young Justice, Superboy, you know, in season 1, you know, he was always this angry, you know, he was always this dude who had a hair trigger temper. He was real quick to anger. But when we go to season 2, we see that he's calmed down, and even when he is mad, he has it under control. He's not the same dude that we seen in season 1, who was just angry real easily and be ready to punch somebody. Now he keeps it under control. You can tell, you can still tell he's mad, but the difference is that he has it under control. So you can be like, okay, well, you know, he's evolved his character. You know, you can actually say that he has evolved his character. And same thing can be said for McGann. In season 1, she was so insecure about her, you know, white Martian side, and she didn't want to, you know, get into that, and she didn't want to reveal it to her friends. And, you know, at the end of the season, of course, you know, she reveals, you know, her true form to her friends and decides to just let that out. So in season 2, you know, she's more comfortable. So, you know, like I said, she's evolved as a character as well. And sadly, and you won't see none of the characters evolve in the season. I mean, none of the characters evolve. All of them are stale. Like I said, Kitty's a one-dimensional character. Bobby's a one-dimensional character. Emma Frost is pretty much just like the rest. Yeah, Emma Frost has no characterization. I'm sorry, but she doesn't. She has no characterization. She's just pretty much just there to keep the plot moving. And like I said, you know, Hank McCoy, you know, like I said, all the rest of them don't really have much characterization. It's just pretty much, you know, oh, let's just throw these characters in the show and, you know, sweep it on the rug once we're done with them. That's pretty much it. Like I said, even freaking Juggernaut's just a one-dimensional character. You don't even have any lines. He just roars like the Incredible Hulk. You know, and Scott, even McKinney and even Scott, he's just gene crazy. So there's not much characterization in him. Like I said, only characters that's pretty much interesting for anything, the Brotherhood of Mutants, because they're the only ones who make the show kind of interesting. If it weren't for them, the show would just be flat. And I'm sorry, but that's kind of the truth. I mean, Scott's so gene crazy. If someone says something bad about Gene, you might snap at them. And, you know, like I said, that's the problem with that's my sum of Wolverine the X-Men. The show failed to make us care for the characters, you know. Like I said, how can we root for Kitty Pryde? I mean, those of you who are very familiar with the show, how the heck can we root for Kitty Pryde? What are we rooting for? How can we root for Bobby, known as Iceman? How can we root for Emma Frost? I mean, like I said, you know, they didn't do anything with those characters, so it's really hard to really root for them. If anything happens to the characters, you might end up just, like I said, rooting for the intelligence in the show. Like I said, it's the only ones who's actually interesting. You know, and I just think that speaks a lot considering the shows I've seen. And, you know, Wolverine the X-Men definitely failed to, you know, give us good characters or good versions of those characters. So, I mean, I really hate to bash on this show. I really do, because I do like the X-Men. I do like Wolverine, but this show just did a bad job. It just made a poor version. Like, maybe on a piece of paper, it sounded like a good idea. And, you know, but the problem is with that is that, and then that's not the only thing. You know, this show has 5 story arcs, and they mashed them all up into one season. They mashed 5 of the story arcs into one season, and I was just like, they're rushing through everything, like the Inner Circle, the Shadow King, and Days of X Futures Past, and the Dark Phoenix saga. Well, actually, make that 4 sagas, but still. And then that, like I mentioned, that episode with the Silver Samurai, that episode had nothing. It was completely irrelevant to any of those arcs. I don't even know why they even put that episode in the show. I mean, that's kind of true from my point if you really think about it. And, you know, like I said, that's the sad part about the show. You know, they didn't do a good job of making us care for the They just made bad versions of them, if anything.